Reuben, what have you finished?
Well, I have finished many, many things, but it would be unfair if I did not say that I have finished Heartstopper Season 3. Because I've been stretching audiences along for this. Problem is,
some would say it's as bad as a TV show rom-com about two people may or maybe not falling in love. You have to watch at least 3 seasons to find out. A la
what? Sex Education? Oh, nice. I see what you did there.
No, I'm actually talking about Le Job.
You're going to break me every time. It's so stupid. Anyway, the problem with waiting so many weeks to talk about Heartstopper Season 3 is it's twofold. Firstly, I don't remember what I thought about it. And secondly, I haven't watched any of the previous seasons. So my feelings weren't... Oh, yes. So I guess I should say that I jumped straight into Heartstopper Season 3.
Fuck. Okay. Here's the thing.
Where?
I've only watched Heartstopper Season 1 and then I stopped after that. So I'm not even helpful here. I can't even close the gap.
I watched the thing that Netflix gave me that was like previously on or whatever. It was like 8 minutes or 11 minutes or something. So I basically know what was happening. It doesn't seem super complicated.
What happened then? Give us the previously on.
Okay, here's season 1 and 2 of Heartstopper, which is not my finished it because I haven't even started them. So you got a kid named, wait for it, Charlie, and you got a kid named Nick. Fucking A. And Nick is a super popular jock boy. He'd be sporting. And Charlie is not that. He's our familiar dweeby little skinny guy, right?
He's our familiar. He can talk to the dead. He's basically a witch.
Funny you should mention that.
Anyways, continue with what you're saying.
And
we'll talk about Agatha all along in our following up section.
What's that?
I said we'll talk. Yeah,
it's coming. It's coming. Don't stress, folks. It's based on a comic book, so every now and again it has a little bit of a hand-drawn animation over the top of it, which is like a window dressing but doesn't really do anything.
Do you think they're hand-drawn or do you think they digitally drew them?
No, I think they digitally drew them.
Okay.
Just on a hunch, it seems. And it's a slow burn will they, won't they? Because initially Nick gets asked out by a girl and he says yes, and then they start to go out and then he's like, no, I didn't want to do this. I felt peer pressured into this. And then he starts to have feelings for Charlie. And then maybe they have a kiss at the end of season 1 probably.
They kiss at some point.
Yeah, so if you've seen it, then it must be season 1.
I think they kiss before the end of season 1. I think it's about 2/3 into it where they actually get together and it's a cute thing. Or I actually have seen season 2 and I'm forgetting.
Well, I'm sorry that I was off by approximately 25% of one season. Anyway, so that's happening. Meanwhile, we have, maybe this picks up in later seasons or maybe it's there from the start. I don't know. But we have what I would call the sex educationification. Thank you. I came up with that on the spot. Or I practiced. Who's to say? Which one's sadder? I don't know. We have the sex educationification.
The one that's not on meds. Continue.
Of the show, which is basically that, like, I don't want to call it tokenism. I want to call it like you get a car. Like you get a representation. So it's like, we got one trans. We got one non-binary. We got one gay. We got more than one gay in the defense of the gays. We got one.
You kind of need at least 2 gays for a gay love story.
Well, no, because you got a gay and a bi, because Nick's bi, as far as I know so far, having watched as much all of the show that's out, unless it doesn't matter. So that's what it's doing, but it's doing it in maybe it's good, and it's meaningful, and it's great to have these underrepresented stories on screen. I think it's just that in combination, it can feel like a little like a box-ticking exercise, having not read the comics or watched the first 2 seasons of this show and coming in with absolutely no pre-existing affection for any of these characters and seeing them more as an avatar of their identity than an actual person. That's how it feels.
So what you're saying is...
What's that?
It's too woke.
Who's to say? That's not my judgment to make. I haven't seen enough of the show.
I want to make that judgment. Can we actually chat about... I want to get into this.
Okay, you want to get into this?
Yeah, I want to get into this.
To be fair, I don't know if it's making the show worse. I doubt it. I think it's a good thing to do. I think that the problem is watching from season 3 is actually the problem here. Because if I watch Sex Education from season 3, I'd be like, what are we doing here? I don't know any of these characters.
Why is there a person in a wheelchair? I've never seen a wheelchair in real life in my life, is what you would say.
I think my problem with this show, and I'm sorry to come in with negativity because it's a nice and good show. I think my problem with the show is that the scenes are too short. And you might say, that seems like a weird nitpick, Reuben. Why do you care? They're like weirdly paced. Every scene is like 2 minutes, which is like just enough to cover the essential like plot elements and like relationship beats, but you never have to sit in any emotion. So it's like at one point in this season, they're going long distance and Charlie's having a really rough time and Nick is struggling with the fact that he can't help him with that. Now, that's a pretty serious thing that's happening between your two protagonists. And we spend about 2 minutes on it, and the actors are doing their best and doing a very good job to make me feel sad. But they only get 2 minutes, and then it's time to cut to, like, Tau and L or whatever the fuck. And there's no, like, dynamic range in the length of any scene.
Yeah.
So it feels like...
Equal presentation of all of the characters, and it kind of... just feel like each scene is like a puzzle piece, but they're all like an equally sized puzzle piece.
Yeah.
Because
like
you can only fit like 10 in a row or whatever.
Yeah, I can see how they go together, but I could see how they went together before you showed them to me. Like I was looking at the back half of the puzzle piece and going, well, I can only see grey cardboard, but it's got to go with that one because that one came before, and then it's going to go there because it has to, right?
I feel like that's not how a puzzle works, but yeah, sure. I like
Well, I liked your analogy and I ran with it, and then you criticized it. So pick a lane, bud.
All right, I wanted to know. I want to talk about representation, and I want to give my opinion on it because this is a thing that I have an opinion on.
Okay.
I think that we should have more diverse representation of things, even if it doesn't accurately represent the world in which we live.
Okay, so what are you describing? So you're saying like put as much of it in as you can because it's underrepresented historically?
Yeah, I'm saying that
fair.
In film and media, historically it hasn't been representative. And now we've seen more representation, accurate, and equal representation of women and people of color and queer and gender diverse people, all of that stuff. And now people are saying maybe we've gone too far. And like, why does... I don't know, why does every character have to have their own thing? No, every character should have their own thing, even if you got like, where's Heartstopper set?
England. Because they're talking about university, not college.
Are you sure you've seen even one episode of this show?
I've seen many. It's set in like the Midlands or like North England.
Okay.
So it's like semi-rural.
Just say there are 10 main characters in the show. If you got 10 people from that region of England, 10 random people, they probably aren't maybe going to be as diverse as the set of characters in the show. However, it doesn't fucking matter when you make a TV show or movies because it doesn't need to be one-to-one with the actual population. In my opinion, the way diversity representation should be is that every single person, every single individual who might watch that show or who does watch that show should have a character in which they can relate to.
I like this, yeah. And I think
because it isn't about being accurate to the population as a whole. No. It's making it so that the people watching, regardless of who you are, because you're not a percentage of a group, you're an individual with your own individual experiences and attributes and your own heritage and your own identity. You should be able to relate to a character in the thing that you're watching. Let's take this to the individual level instead of looking at people as statistics. Because also, we're really not being representative regardless if we're going just by... If the writer's room of shows had to be like, all right, where are we setting in this and let's make sure by the fucking census, we have at least 40% of the characters be of African-American descent, 20% be of Mexican descent, and at least 60% need to have some sort of, I don't know, physical affliction. Nobody is doing that.
No.
Make it so that everyone can relate to someone.
Gay people in this one? Like, what?
I realized this, like, about 6 months ago or so. I can't remember what show I was thinking about, but yeah, it was this thing of like, oh, is there too much representation in this or blah, blah, blah? You know, how much real does it feel? It's like, no, actually, everyone should just be able to relate to a character in a show that they like.
And also, like, it's about redressing and doing a bit of restorative justice on, like, decades of underrepresentation. So it's like, this isn't representative of the exact world around it, but it is representative of a bunch of perspectives that have been silenced since, like, film cameras started in the 1920s or whatever. Yeah. So even if you want to make some sort of like weird, twisted, exact equity argument, there's still literally 100 years of like straight white men. So shut up. I think my problem isn't with the representation. I think it's with the fact that because I was putting together who was what and who represented what and who loved who and who was friends with who, I saw them through that lens first rather than the individual thing. And for those of them who are like proudly out in the show, I didn't see them go through the process of learning that about themselves. Not that all queer stories have to be about like repression and struggle, but I did meet them not first as characters or first as people. I met them as like avatars, I guess. So it's my fault for starting at season 3. But it was interesting to come in not with any connection to the characters already. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting coming in at that sort of, I don't know. I guess it is inherently identity based when you're going into a show about youth queer identity, figuring out what these people's stories are, because a lot of it is centered.
Them as people.
You miss them as people, but also it isn't really a people-centered story. Like while it is people-centered, you're not going. It's similar to sex education. It's a story about these young people discovering themselves. You know, they're not 50. You're not trying to figure out their life story and how they're historically connected to people. They've mostly met the other people in their lives within the past like 3 to 4 years.
Yeah, yeah.
So it is really about identity. Yeah.
And it's also like, I guess a show can have multiple agendas, and one of them can be like compelling story. One of them can be like adapting from another medium faithfully or accurately, whatever that means to you. And another one can be like, an education or a thematic purpose. And this season in particular is like, spoilers and also trigger warning for eating disorders, which I'll put at the top of the show. This season is very much like, we're going to talk about the experience of that for Charlie, which I think has been alluded to in earlier seasons. And this time we're like, well, it's getting worse for him. And what is that experience like? And what is even the process of treatment for that? And so
I didn't know that was part of it because, I really didn't. Maybe I missed the foreshadowing, or maybe
it wasn't there. I haven't seen it.
Maybe it was more in season 2, or maybe it wasn't there.
Yeah. So, or maybe it's in the comic and everyone else knew it was coming and we just didn't. Yeah. So, I guess this combination of like not having watched the previous seasons, scenes that don't let me meet them as characters, and then like explicit thematic content meant that I was watching it with someone else who had watched the characters all the way through. I was watching it with Jack. And so I had this quite analytical lens, whereas they were like, oh, yay, cooties, which was harder for me to tap into, maybe.
Yeah. I also didn't have that fully. And I find it hard to have that with shows and movies.
Which one of those things do you find hard?
The cuties kind of thing. I don't know if it's a thing that I've repressed over the years because I'm like, no, I'm here for the intellectual stuff and not these people are cute, whatever. Yeah. Maybe that's a part of it. I also think that maybe that's it. Maybe that's the whole thought. But well, when I was watching the show, I did have bits of like, little butterflies of like, oh, this is cute and this is a really cute situation, blah blah blah. But I kind of find it hard to be very outwardly like, oh my god, look how lovely these two people are. Maybe I'm jaded. Maybe I'm pissed off because fucking Poe and Finn didn't get together and the Star Wars sequel trilogy.
Hey, maybe there's hope.
A new hope?
A new trilogy. Not hope. Not unless you're very optimistic.
Who's directing the new trilogy?
Simon Kinberg.
Who the fuck is that?
He made Dark Phoenix.
Fuck. We haven't watched that yet. As soon as you get back, Reuben, as soon as you get back from New South Wales, we're watching Dark Phoenix.
Okay.
2 of our friends, shout out Ashley and Naoka. Wait, no, fuck Naoka. Naoka's not a part of this. It's Ashley and Eli. Shout out Ashley and Eli.
Unnecessary.
They've been marathoning the Zmen films, and they've
true? Where are they up to?
they're almost done. They're up to where we are.
Do we link up?
No, we fucking beat them. We started this
I
like
see
2
how it
years
is.
ago. We're not letting them win.
Oh my goodness me. Ooh, a van. Not a FedEx van. Unrelated. Sorry.
Well, the other one also might not have been a FedEx van.
Well, it didn't say it on it anywhere. It just happened to be orange and white. Is that the FedEx colors? I don't know.
I think
At least
that's
it wasn't
a
orange and
budget
teal.
van.
A go-get budget.
Yeah.
Those are different companies, aren't they?
Those are
Don't
two
worry about
completely
me.
separate companies.
I may or may not have ADHD. It's whatever. Anyway, Heartstopper Season 3, a very curious perspective from a strange observer.
Should people start it?
Probably at the
finish
start. I don't know. You tell me.
it. Should people finish it?
Nah, yeah.
You started off with saying nah there.
I did start off with saying nah there because I didn't have a great time. But then, like, I've only experienced the final third of the thing.
But also, that's a whole season. People jump in mid-season for things. I'm sure if you jumped in at season 3 of Le Job, you'd enjoy your time.
Yeah, but Le Job is an untarnished masterpiece. Nothing lives up to Le Job.
I do want to give a shout out to the Canadian TV show Le Job. Not that one. I'm kidding. It's a different Canadian TV show. Degrassi.
I was going to say, you had to bring up fucking Degrassi somehow.
I am.
For
'Cause I
doing
feel
good
like
representation in the 2000s or something.
so many teenage shows of identity and self-discovery, sex education, the fucking what's the one from Australia? Something high.
Heartbreak High.
Heartbreak High, even Heartbreaker. Degrassi did this way before them, and I'm not saying things. This has already been done. Blah blah blah. But Degrassi has done this. And kind of like tenfold because it has a rolling cast that ages with the show and then new people come in and whatever. But they've been doing this since like the fucking 90s. Like they've been doing this for so long. And I think that a lot of this stuff that we're now seeing in like American shows, Australian shows, British shows is all following on from Degrassi because of the way Canada's culture is. They've been talking about eating disorders and sexual assault and identity discovery and transness and queerness and or anything that you could think of, that you could possibly think of that someone could go through is represented in Degrassi.
So maybe start Degrassi, listeners. That's my recommendation.
Start Degrassi, specifically Next Generation. It's all on YouTube unless you're in Australia, in which it's not, but use VPN and then you can watch it.
There you go, listeners.
Yeah. But it's all on YouTube. So stunning.